government to encourage job creation. Do you believe that regulation is impeding economic growth or protecting people? Please give examples. What should be the key elements of a long-term U.S. energy policy? And should immigration policies be responsive to the needs of the economy? And I will ask Ms. Tsongas to go first. The candidates will have 2 minutes for their first response in this area.
A lot of questions.
Well, I think I'll first address whether or not there's a role for the federal government in advancing our economic development. I think all we have to do is look to the immediate history where we were experiencing the greatest downfall in our economy since the Great Depression. And the necessity for government action was essentially embraced by economists on all sides of the aisle. Most notably Mark Zandi, who is now an advisor to Mr. Romney, who is seeking the presidency. So the need for the stimulus was tremendous to stop the free fall. Its effect has been great. We were losing 800,000 jobs in the last month of the Bush presidency, and last month we added 103,000 jobs. We have created private sector jobs over the last 30 months. So we are on a trajectory. But do we have more to do? And is there a role for the government? Absolutely. I think the President's America Jobs Act recognizes that, wants to put people back together. A Make It in America agenda that supports American manufacturing and stops the offshoring of our manufacturing jobs is critically important. But I also know how important it is to be engaged on the ground. That is something I have made a hallmark of my office. We work very closely with communities who see a need and want particular investment so that they can advance their economic development projects. We work with companies over and over again who have a problem with the federal government. Just several weeks ago, I was in Lawrence, Massachusetts to open a solar array on the top of a privately held building, made it possible by federal tax credits that help finance an investment in our future, lower costs for the business owner, put a manufacturing entity to work there making the inverter, and in the long run creates the platform for job growth.
Mr. Golnik, 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. And I'll address the issue of the federal government to encourage job creation. I think the federal government does have a role to help us create jobs, and I think what they need to do is they need to create an environment for private sector where sustainable jobs are created, so that the private sector is willing to make investment and hiring decisions. Now, currently we have private sector businesses are sitting on approximately $2 trillion on their balance sheets. They're not spending this money to innovate. They're not spending this money to hire. Why not? Because the federal government has not created a clear environment for them in which they feel comfortable making business decisions. We in households, when we don't have a clear visibility of what the future economic environment will be like, don't make purchasing decisions. We don't make decisions in our household. Small businesses are no different. They do not have any clear certainty of what future tax policies will be and what future regulatory policies will be. Now, currently, one of the biggest regulatory issues that these small businesses are facing are the implementation of the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act is going to burden small businesses. It increases the cost of doing business. Now, I'm not a laissez-faire capitalist, but regulations do one thing. They increase the cost of doing business, and that isn't borne on the backs of businesses by themselves. It's passed down to the working men and women in this district.
Now, I proposed a number of things that I think we can do. I think we need to lower the corporate tax rate from 35% to 25%. It's the highest tax rate in the world. What does this do? Lowering the tax rate isn't going to enrich the owners. Lowering the tax rate is going to encourage businesses to invest and bring jobs back to this district. It'll also encourage companies to move back that have moved overseas because the cost of doing business here is too high. Let's close some of these loopholes. I don't know if many realize this, but there's actually you can deduct your cost of moving your company overseas and moving jobs along with it. Let's close that loophole. Let's actually give businesses credit for moving back to this country. This is what we need to do. $800 million on a stimulus plan that Representative Tsongas supported to create or save 3.5 million jobs at a cost of $225,000 a job is too expensive.
Time is up. The microphone is not working.